There was a moment, I can still feel it, when I realized I'd been living my entire life at the surface, skimming, always on to the next thing before I'd finished the last. 100 tabs open in my mind, zero depth in any of them. I wasn't present with my kids, wasn't present in my work, wasn't even present with myself. I was everywhere and nowhere. And the exhaustion wasn't from doing too much, it was from never actually landing anywhere, from never letting my mind rest on one thing long enough to see it clearly, to feel it deeply, to let it transform me. That day, I understood. A scattered mind is a suffering mind, and focus isn't a productivity hack, it's a spiritual practice. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, Tony, I've heard all this before. Focus is important, concentration matters, be present, I get it. But here's what I need you to understand. This isn't another lecture about turning off your phone or trying harder. Because here's what most people get completely wrong about focus. They think it's about discipline, about willpower, about forcing yourself to concentrate harder through sheer effort. And that's exactly why they keep failing. Because focus isn't something you force, it's something you cultivate. It's not a muscle you strengthen through punishment, it's a garden you tend through awareness. This video is going to show you why your mind feels scattered, why you can't seem to stick with anything, why you're drowning in information but starving for clarity. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you lack discipline. It's because you've been taught to approach focus completely backward. You've been taught that more effort equals more results, that multitasking is a skill, that a busy mind is a productive mind. All of it, every single bit of that advice is setting you up to fail. What you're about to learn is a different framework entirely, one that doesn't rely on grinding harder, but on seeing clearer, one that transforms focus from a battle you're always losing into a natural state you can return to. We're going to explore the neuroscience of attention, the spirituality of presence, and the practical habits that make both possible, not through complexity, but through elegant simplicity. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why distraction isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. You'll learn how to train your attention without turning yourself into a productivity robot. You'll discover that a focused mind isn't about doing more, it's about being more present, more intentional, more alive. And you'll walk away with specific, concrete practices you can implement today. Not in a year, not when conditions are perfect, today. So let me tell you a story. There are two archers standing before the same target. The first archer is incredibly talented, strong, well-trained. He's been doing this for years. He has all the technical skill you could ask for. But watch what happens when he draws his bow. His eyes are darting everywhere. He's watching the crowd, wondering what they're thinking of him. He's calculating his reputation. He's worrying about his last shot. He's thinking about dinner. He's thinking about that conversation he had yesterday. His body is at the archery range, but his mind is scattered across 17 different locations. He fires, and the arrow misses. Not by much, but it misses. The second archer is less skilled, less experienced. She doesn't have the years of training, but watch her. When she draws her bow, something different happens. Her entire world collapses into a single point of awareness. There's nothing except her, the arrow, and the target. Her breathing slows, her thoughts quiet. She's not trying to focus, she's not forcing concentration, she's simply there, completely, fully. The shot isn't perfect, it's not a bullseye, but it lands. It lands because all of her energy, all of her attention, all of her being was poured into that single moment. Now the first archer, he looks at his equipment. He blames his bow, his form, his luck. He thinks he needs more training, better gear, different conditions. He never realized that the target wasn't his problem. His attention was. He had all the ability in the world, but he couldn't focus it into a single moment of clarity. His power was there. It was just dispersed, like sunlight through a magnifying glass. When it's scattered, it's just light. When it's focused, it starts fires. And this is what's happening in your life right now. You have the ability, you have the intelligence, you have the talent, but your attention is scattered across so many things that none of them get the full force of who you are. You're the first archer, firing arrows with only a fraction of your awareness behind them, wondering why nothing hits. Let me give you another example. This one's personal. I remember standing in my kitchen one morning, and this was years ago, and I was surrounded by chaos. My kids were asking me questions, my phone was pinging with work emails, there were bills on the counter I hadn't paid, a project deadline I was behind on, breakfast needed to be made, and in my head, there's this voice just screaming at me with this endless to-do list. Call this person, fix that thing, don't forget about the other thing. And I'm standing there frozen because I'm trying to think about everything at once. I'm trying to hold it all in my mind simultaneously, and I just felt this wave of complete overwhelm wash over me. And that's when it hit me. My mind is like a house with every faucet running and no drains open. I keep adding more water, more tasks, more information, more worry, more responsibility, but I never create space for any of it to flow through. I'm not overwhelmed because there's too much to do. I'm overwhelmed because I'm trying to hold it all in my mind at the same time. Everything, all at once. And the human brain simply wasn't designed for that. It can't work that way. That morning, I made a decision. I turned off my phone. I asked my kids to give me 10 minutes. I sat down with one piece of paper and I wrote down the one thing, just one that actually mattered that day. Not the 17 urgent things, the one important thing. And then I did it. Just that. For one focused hour. And you know what happened? Everything else fell into place. Not because I worked harder, not because I suddenly became more disciplined, but because I stopped trying to do everything and started actually completing something. One thing. Fully. With my entire attention behind it. This is the breakthrough I need you to understand. The anxiety of modern life isn't about volume. It's not about having too much to do. It's about fractured attention. It's about never landing anywhere long enough to actually be there. Peace doesn't come from managing everything simultaneously. Peace comes from singularity of focus. One thing, at a time, fully, completely, without apology. Now let me tell you why focus is so hard in the first place. Why your mind resists the very thing that would bring you peace. Because once you understand what's actually happening under the surface, everything changes. You stop blaming yourself, you stop thinking you're broken, and you start seeing the system that's been working against you this whole time. First truth, your brain cannot multitask. I need you to really hear this. Your brain cannot do two things at once. What you call multitasking is actually rapid task switching. And every time you switch, there's a cost. Research shows it takes 23 minutes to refocus after an interruption. 23 minutes! And most people interrupt themselves every 3 minutes, which means they're never actually focused. They're never actually present. They're living in this constant state of partial attention. And partial attention produces partial results. Surface-level thinking, shallow work, and constant low-grade anxiety that you can't quite name, but that follows you everywhere. The modern world rewards the appearance of multitasking. It celebrates busyness. It makes you feel productive when you're juggling 17 things at once. But it punishes the practice of it, because depth beats breadth. Always. Every single time. 1 hour of focus work will produce more value than 8 hours of distracted work. But we've been conditioned to believe that doing more things equals doing better work, and it's destroying us. Second truth, attention is a zero-sum game. You have a finite amount of attention each day. Not time, attention. You can have all the time in the world, but if your attention is fragmented, diluted, stolen by every notification and mental loop and worry, you have nothing. Every notification you respond to, every email you check, every mental rehearsal of some future problem you entertain is spending your attention currency. And unlike money, you can't earn more. You wake up with your daily allocation, and when it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. You can't borrow it. You can't manufacture more. So the question stops being, how do I get more done? The question becomes, what deserves my attention? Because if you're spending your attention on things that don't matter, things that don't move you forward, things that drain you, you're essentially throwing away the most valuable resource you have. And then you wonder why you're exhausted at the end of the day despite not actually accomplishing anything meaningful. Third truth, distraction is a symptom, not the disease. You don't reach for your phone because you're weak. You don't open social media because you lack willpower.
You do it because you're avoiding something: discomfort, boredom, an emotion you don't want to feel, a task you're scared to start, a truth about yourself you're not ready to face. Distraction is always avoidance in disguise. It's a coping mechanism. It's your brain's way of protecting you from whatever's uncomfortable in the present moment. So the solution isn't stronger willpower. It's not about white-knuckling your way through temptation. It's about deeper awareness. Next time you reach for your phone, pause, just for a second, and ask yourself, what am I running from right now? What discomfort am I trying to avoid? Because once you name it, you can face it. And once you face it, you don't need the distraction anymore. The compulsion dissolves, not because you forced it away, but because you addressed the actual need underneath it. Fourth truth, and this is the paradox: the harder you try to focus, the harder focus becomes. Because forcing creates tension. Tension creates resistance. Resistance scatters attention. It's like trying to fall asleep by trying really hard to fall asleep. The effort itself prevents the thing you're trying to achieve. True focus is effortless, not because it's easy, but because it's natural, like water flowing downhill. You don't force a river to flow. You just remove the obstacles. You remove the dam, and the water goes where it needs to go. The obstacles in your mind are these: fear of missing out, need for constant stimulation, inability to tolerate boredom, and lack of clarity about what actually matters. Remove those obstacles and focus returns on its own. It's your natural state. It's how children operate before we train it out of them. Watch a 3-year-old play with a toy. They're completely absorbed, totally present. That capacity is still in you. It's just been buried under years of conditioning that taught you to constantly scan for the next thing, the next hit of dopamine, the next distraction. Fifth truth, your environment is programming you. And you cannot out-willpower a bad environment. If your phone is on your desk, you'll check it. If your workspace is chaotic, your mind will be chaotic. If you're surrounded by noise, interruption, distraction, you will be distracted. Period. This isn't a moral failing. This isn't weakness. This is neuroscience. Your brain is designed to respond to environmental cues. It's designed to notice movement, sound, novelty. That's survival. That's how we evolved. So if you put yourself in an environment that's constantly triggering those survival responses, you will never focus. You'll just exhaust yourself trying to resist your own biology. Most people try to change their mind without changing their space. And that's like trying to sleep in a nightclub and blaming yourself for being tired. Your environment is either supporting your focus or destroying it. And if you don't take control of your environment will control you. So now you understand why focus is hard, why your mind feels scattered, why everything you've tried hasn't worked. Now let me give you the practices. Simple, specific, immediately actionable. These are the habits that will train your mind to focus without force. Not someday, starting today. First practice, the one thing morning. For the first 90 minutes of your day, do one thing. No email, no phone. No multitasking. One thing that moves your life forward. Not the urgent thing, the important thing. The thing that if you did it every day for a year would completely transform your life. Maybe that's writing. Maybe that's exercise. Maybe that's working on your business. Maybe that's learning a skill. Whatever it is, that's your first 90 minutes. Before you react to the world, you act on your life. This practice does something powerful. It trains your brain that depth is possible, that you're capable of sustained attention, that your day doesn't have to be reactive chaos. It becomes a proof point. Every single morning, you prove to yourself, I can focus. I did it today, I can do it tomorrow. And over time, that proof builds, that confidence grows, and focusing stops feeling like this impossible task and starts feeling like who you are. Second practice, the attention audit. For 3 days, track where your attention actually goes. Set a timer for every hour. When it goes off, write down what you were doing. Was it chosen or compulsory? Was it focused or fragmented? Was it energizing or draining? Don't judge it. Don't try to change it yet. Just notice. Just become aware. Because awareness is always the first step to change. You can't redirect what you can't see. By day 3, you'll see the pattern. You'll see where your attention is leaking, where you're giving away your power without even realizing it. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's negative self-talk. Maybe it's rehashing past conversations that are already over. Whatever it is, you'll see it. And once you see it, you can address it. You can make a different choice, but you have to see it first. Third practice, the focus ritual. Before starting any task that requires deep work, create a 60-second ritual. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself one question. What is the one outcome I want from this session? Not 10 things, one thing. Then visualize completing it. See yourself finishing. Feel the satisfaction of it being done. Then begin. That's it. 60 seconds. This tiny practice signals your brain we're going deep now. This isn't shallow work. This isn't email. This isn't admin. This is the real work. And over time, your brain learns that signal. It starts dropping in to focus faster. The ritual becomes a switch. Close eyes, breathe, set intention, focus, activated. Simple, repeatable, powerful.
Fourth practice, the boredom practice. Once a day, for just 5 minutes, do absolutely nothing. No phone, no podcast, no book, no music. Just sit. Let your mind wander. Let yourself be bored. This is the most uncomfortable practice for modern humans. And it's the most important. Because in the space between stimulation, your brain processes, integrates, creates. All your best ideas, all your deepest insights, all your real clarity emerges from boredom, from stillness, from giving your mind permission to just be. But we've become so addicted to constant input that we've forgotten how to be with ourselves. We've forgotten how to let our mind rest. And a mind that never rests is a mind that never integrates. It's just consuming, 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 without ever digesting. The boredom practice is digestion. It's giving your mind space to process everything you've taken in. And from that processing comes wisdom. But you have to create the space first. Fifth practice, the evening closing ritual. Before bed, spend 5 minutes writing down 3 things. What got my best attention today? What stole my attention unnecessarily? What will get my first attention tomorrow? That's it. 3 questions, 5 minutes. This practice creates bookends for your day. It trains you to reflect, to learn, to adjust. And it prevents the open loops, the unfinished tasks, the unresolved worries from following you into sleep. You're telling your brain, the day is done. We did what we could. We can rest now. Tomorrow, we'll focus again. These 5 practices, they're not complicated. They don't require special equipment or 12 weeks of training. They're simple, almost too simple. And that's exactly why they work. Because focus isn't complicated. We've just been taught that it has to be. We've been taught that transformation requires suffering, that change requires massive overhaul. But the truth is, small shifts, repeated consistently, create massive transformation over time. You don't need to do all 5 practices. Start with one, just one. Whichever one made you the most uncomfortable when I described it, that's probably the one you need most. Do it for 7 days. Not perfectly, just consistently. And watch what happens. Watch how your mind starts to settle, how your anxiety decreases, how your clarity increases, how you start showing up as the person you've always wanted to be. Not because you forced it, but because you finally gave yourself the space to focus. So here's where we've been. You came into this video maybe feeling scattered, overwhelmed, like your mind was a browser with 40 tabs open and none of them loading properly. And what I hope you're walking away with isn't just tactics, though we covered those, but a completely different relationship with your attention. Because here's the truth. Your mind isn't broken. It's not defective. It's not weak. It's just been trained by design, by culture, by a world that profits from your distraction to operate in a way that creates suffering.
You've been taught that busyness equals importance, that multitasking equals efficiency, that more input equals more output. And all of it is a lie, a profitable, socially acceptable, completely destructive lie. The real power, the power that changes everything, isn't in doing more. It's in seeing more clearly. It's in being able to direct your attention like a laser instead of scattering it like a flashlight. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life grows. A focused mind isn't about becoming a productivity machine. It's about becoming fully human again. It's about being able to sit with your child and actually be there, not mentally rehearsing tomorrow's meeting. It's about working on something you care about and entering that flow state where time disappears and you're just completely absorbed in what you're creating. It's about reading a book, having a conversation, eating a meal, and actually experiencing it instead of just getting through it. This is what we've lost in the age of infinite distraction. Not productivity, presence. Not efficiency, depth. Not information, wisdom. And the path back isn't complicated. It's not a 12-week program. It's not a $2,000 course. It's simple habits practiced daily that slowly, then suddenly, recalibrate your mind. That teach your brain that you're safe without constant stimulation. That peace is possible. That you can land somewhere and stay there long enough to actually be transformed by the experience. Here's your mantra. Say it with me. My attention is my most valuable resource. I will guard it fiercely and spend it wisely. Say it again. I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them, and I can choose where to place that awareness. One more time. A scattered mind creates a scattered life. A focused mind creates a meaningful one. Write these down. Put them somewhere you'll see them. Your bathroom mirror, your computer screen, your phone wallpaper. Let them remind you every single day that your attention is a choice. Not always an easy choice, not always a comfortable choice, but a choice nonetheless. And every time you choose to focus, you're voting for the person you want to become. You're building the life you want to live, one moment of presence at a time. And if this resonated with you, if something I said landed, if you felt that little spark of recognition, that moment where you thought, yes, that's exactly what I needed to hear, hit the like button. Let me know this message found the right person. Drop a comment and tell me which practice you're going to start with. Just name it. Make it real. Say it out loud to the universe. I'm starting with the one thing morning. I'm starting with the boredom practice. Whatever it is, claim it, because naming your intention makes it real, and making it public makes it powerful. And subscribe if you want more of these conversations, because this is what I do. I help people reclaim their minds from a world designed to steal them. I help people remember who they are underneath all the noise and chaos and distraction. And if you're here, if you made it this far through this video, you're ready for that. You wouldn't be here otherwise. Something in you is calling for depth, for presence, for focus. Honor that call. That's your true self trying to come home. Your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever own. And for too long, someone else has been operating it. The algorithm, the notifications, the culture of constant busyness. Take it back. Not through force, not through punishment, but through awareness, through intention, through simple practices that remind you every day, I am the one in control here. I decide where my attention goes. I decide what gets my energy. I decide what kind of life I create with this beautiful, powerful, sacred gift of focus. One moment of focus at a time. One practice at a time. One day at a time. You've got this. Not because it's easy, not because you're perfect, but because it matters. And you matter. Now go. Focus on one thing today, fully, completely, without apology, and watch your life begin to change. Not someday. Today. Right now. The moment you finish watching this video, that's when your transformation begins. I'll see you in the next video. Now go focus.